If you guys live under a bridge, you will have not known that the Artemis 2 mission had just begun. Okay, a rocket ship flew out into outer space and I tried to look at it live. I did. I actually went outside my apartment because I live in Florida and I looked out there for like 20 minutes. I never saw it. I was out there with a bunch of people. None of us saw it. We walked inside like in shame. But I want to watch a video on Artemis. I feel like it's actually really interesting. I feel like nobody talked about Artemis. I just heard about that. You just heard about that? It's crazy. And so we're watching this.
When Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon for the first time in 1969, it was a moment that defined a generation. In the 5 decades since, we've sent rovers to Mars, probes to the edge of the solar system, and telescopes that can see back to the beginning of the universe. And yet, in terms of how far we've actually sent a human being, there has been zero progress. But that is about to change. Artemis 2 will carry 4 astronauts on a journey around the moon, and when they get there...
Dude, there's so much aura from these 4. I'm getting like TikTok edits every day, and it's like the most hype shit you've ever seen. I hope that shows up on your 40 page now, because dude, those videos are so fire.
They will be further away from Earth than any person has ever gone. This is the beginning of a new giant leap for our generation to witness, and the first small step for this crew will be towards solving a new problem that NASA has never had to figure out before.
That was nice.
Going back to the moon isn't just a matter of building a rocket and pointing it in the right direction. The plan this time is to stay, to build a permanent human presence in deep space. That's gonna be so cool. To do that safely.
Bro, I can't wait till we're like old unks, you know, not like I am now. Like, you know, once I'm like actually old and unk, and there's actually like a moon base. Now, realistically, it'll just be like the next Epstein Island, but I just feel like it'd be cool for humans to have I'm a human. Not only the, you know, trillionaires are going to be allowed to go to it, but
you need to know exactly how your spacecraft behaves with human beings inside.
Dude,
that's what Artemis 2 is. A crude test of the most powerful rocket ever launched, with 4 people on board who will find out if it's actually ready. This is who they are, what they're going to do, and why this mission is bigger.
So much aura, it's insane between these 4. It's
leading
literally
the mission
crazy.
Will be Commander Reed Wiseman. He spent 27 years as a fighter pilot in the US Navy before joining NASA's astronaut ranks in 2009. He flew to the ISS for the first time in 2014 on board a Russian Soyuz rocket, and later became...
Part of me feels like you're being a little selfish going on multiple trips to space. But then again, you are an expert. But part of me is like, you should have let someone else do that, bro. Like, you're kind of hogging the space.
NASA's chief of the astronaut office in 2020.
I want to go next, though.
Victor Glover will pilot the spacecraft. Also a former U.S. Navy airman who was deployed in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
So cool.
He made his first trip to Earth orbit in 2020 on board a SpaceX Dragon capsule. Christina Cook is a mission specialist. She has a background as an electrical engineer, Antarctic explorer, and firefighter before joining NASA in 2002. She holds the record for the longest single space...
This low-key makes me feel bad, man. I'm streaming on Twitch at 25. This girl's probably through her like 3rd fucking miracle. Firefighter, biologist, and like explorer of the Antarctic. Bro, like... Am I that much of a waste of space? Holy shit.
Flight by a female astronaut.
I want to do this,
with 328 consecutive days in space. Jeremy Hansen is another mission specialist, also a veteran fighter pilot. Hansen has actually never been to space, but he has spent time as an aquanaut, which is long-duration deep-sea diving. He's also the first Canadian who will fly to the moon.
Oh, hell no. Get him out of here. Get him out of there. Canadian? What are we doing here? We're just getting anybody. We're letting anybody go to space now, huh? We're letting anyone.
These 4 people will spend 10 days in space on a flight that will take them around the moon and could reach a distance over 400,000 kilometers away from the Earth. That is further away.
Bro, if I'm in the middle of deep space and I hear a motherfucker say a boot, how do you feel about this? Like, boom! I'm pressing the eject button. Okay. Respect Canada, man. The fuck is wrong with you? Are you Canadian trash? I know Wolfgod is. Why are you guys all Canadian? What's up, Pickle? You excited for
from home
Artemis?
Than any human has ever traveled. From here,
so excited.
The Earth will look like a small and distant globe behind the lunar horizon, a sight that was first captured by the crew of the Apollo 8 mission in the year 1968. This is a photograph that has come to be known as Earthrise. It's the first clear image ever taken of...
4 people watching you are probably Canadian. Well, you're not Canadian, Taco Bell, and neither's Pickle, so that's all that matters. How about that? How about that?
The Earth and the Moon together. Before that, people...
You're Canadian?
Grainy, low-quality images of outer space taken by cold, mechanical probes. This was a scene composed through the human eye and captured on color film, and it changed the world. Just like Artemis 2...
#real. Wait, are you Canadian too, Pickle? I'm sorry, I'm like losing focus in the video because I'm starting to realize that everyone in my chat is Canadian. Please, Pickle, don't make me not like you. Okay, thank you. Pickle, actually, you're a new mod. Pickle, you want to be modded? Like, I can't believe I had this much fucking takeover. My Canadian citizenship? What does that even mean? You can do that? People move to Canada? Me too, Canadian. Mod Pickle. I should find someone named Pickle first and then I'll do it, but Pixel Vamp you are next on the list. I would mod you, Pickle.
Apollo 8 was the first crewed test flight of a brand new state-of-the-art technology, and we have come a long way since the 1960s. This is our new spacecraft. The design is known as Orion, but this particular capsule has been named Integrity by its crew. Compared to the old Apollo capsule, it has 60% more internal volume. That's what allows the vehicle to accommodate a crew of 4, while the previous moon missions capped out at 3.
This is a dumb question, but do you think they ever have like a panic attack? Has there ever been an astronaut that just starts freaking the fuck out in the 10, 9, 8, 7, T minus, like, you know what I'm talking about when they're like going into space? I feel like there had to have been one. Like, okay, I feel like it's kind of fucked up to bring up Challenger, but there wasn't like teachers on that one, or one teacher. That teacher is not like a fighter pilot. They got to be a little scared. They got to be a little bit freaked out. Because I feel like as much as I would love to go to space, I'm thinking I'm about to blow up in a fiery ball of hell. So I don't really know. That sounds awesome though. They would never send someone sissy like that. Sissy liberal. They would send this sissy liberal up there. And I would show them who's boss. I would fucking girl boss and show my sissy liberal ass to everyone on the moon. I was freaking out on the ISS. You're not on the damn ISS, bro. You're not even getting off the damn couch of your mother's fucking house. All right, you're not going to the damn ISS.
Beyond just an extra chair, the new design offers some luxuries that were not available in the past. Chief among them being...
I didn't call myself a girl boss. I'm saying that I am girl bossing.
Ever since the space age began, engineers have obsessed over efficiency. When every gram matters, you design equipment that carries more while taking up less space. That same idea applies to something we all carry every day, our wallet. Exter makes one of the smartest wallets out there. It's about half the size of
a check out Exter. I'm reacting to this video. Check out Exter. Use his link. I'll link to it.
Travel a lot more into my includes the best and bravest NASA astronauts had to pee in a hose and poop into a plastic bag. Sometimes they missed, and that led to some nasty stuff floating around in a very confined space.
Dude, in that area, there's just poop flying around, and it probably wasn't wet, which is better. It was probably a very solid turd from those astronauts. And it probably was like, it would hit a wall, boom, and it would like bounce off of it. But then it would like kind of stop moving because it would hit a wall eventually. It would go like really, really slow. It moved like this. And then one day you'd be like looking this way and you turn around and it hit you in the face and then it would start moving around a lot more. And in space, things don't slow down until they hit something, it's a vacuum. So that poop is moving until it hits a wall. Dude, that's so fucked up. Although I would love to pee in zero gravity. I'm gonna have a dream about that later. I'm gonna wake up in my bed wet, dude, because that's so fire.
Orion has the new Universal Waste Management System. It's based on the same toilet they use on the ISS, and it's located inside a wall of the spacecraft behind a small door for privacy.
It's much a porta potty.
The astronauts will also be bringing a gym to the moon. Because these Artemis missions are designed to be long duration, the crew needs to exercise every day in order to maintain their muscle mass and bone density in the microgravity environment. So the capsule is equipped with this simple rowing machine.
A treadmill in space is so
allows
cool.
Them to get in a full body workout. For meals, the crew will be eating dried food packets that get rehydrated with fresh water. One of the advantages of a relatively short duration spaceflight is that there's no need to recycle water on Artemis 2, so unlike astronauts on the ISS, they will not be drinking their own pee. Human waste from the toilet system will simply be vented out into space.
Bro,
and of course, the most...
I want to take a shit in the fucking toilet in space. Not my fucking ship fly through space, bro. It'll never stop moving until it hits a fucking star or some shit. Or a planet. Maybe it comes down to Earth. Bro, I want to drop a crazy log. It's going to rain shit. And you're going to have to look up and be like, no, Zeus finally fucking did it. That crazy fucking son of a bitch did it. As the fucking piece of shit hurls at your face at 400,000 miles per hour. I don't know how fast. It would probably burn up in the atmosphere. But, bro, that's so... I want my poop to go fly. I feel like it should be free. I feel like my poop should be free. I think we should let it go. And it should just fly through space. And we should just let that happen. Because you know what? One day, too, it could create life on another planet. Because fertilizer. She didn't think of that.
Important part of the mission, the crew will be taking photos and videos of the most spectacular view as they fly around the moon. The Orion spacecraft will be equipped with professional-grade Nikon cameras and lenses, along with a collection of GoPros that will be collecting footage inside the capsule for a Disney Plus documentary. And most importantly,
they got streaming rights to this?
The first NASA mission where astronauts are allowed to bring their iPhones along with them to space.
How many sponsorships is paying for this fucking shit? Is NASA running out of money? We got fucking, everyone's got their iPhone 17 Pro Max on the fucking flight. And they have a fucking, like, everything's like branded. That's kind of fine. They got Disney Plus rights. Won't it implode? I don't know why it would implode. I don't know where you're getting that from. I don't know why it would. Why would it implode? It's just an object. I don't know, because space doesn't make things implode. Space is just space. It's a vacuum. It's nothing. It is nothing. I don't even think humans implode when they're in a spacesuit in space. I think it's like, I don't know. I thought it was more like when you're facing the sun, there's nothing like stopping the radiation. So you're just getting like full sunlight radiation and it like fucking destroys you. And then like, you're gonna be freezing on the other side. Humans, yeah, but I don't think phones are gonna be worse. I feel like we're more fragile than an iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Before any of this can happen, there is launch day. This is what NASA has spent the better part of the last decade preparing for. They have already completed the first uncrewed test flight with Artemis 1 in November 2022, but now it's finally time for the real deal. The rocket and spacecraft are already on the launch pad and going through final checks as we speak. What we are looking at is actually two separate vehicles. There is the SLS booster and the Orion spacecraft. Beginning with SLS, this is the most powerful human-rated rocket booster ever made. So when our crew lifts off, there will be more thrust under their seat than any person has ever experienced. The majority of that power comes from two solid rocket motors strapped to the sides of the main rocket body.
I don't want to pause, but like, bro, it's so crazy the design of these ships. It's literally just like a fucking bomb, like just pointed downwards, and there's no like steering really. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but I feel like there's not like that much steering capabilities other than maybe like kind of when you're like canoeing and you can put stronger in one side. Like I guess they could try to like lower one engine's like power a little bit. But like, bro, it's like fully just shoot straight up. I hope fuck it gets to orbit. That shit's crazy.
If you've ever flown a model rocket with that little cardboard tube of propellant, this is the exact same concept, just much, much, much bigger.
Yeah.
Each side booster is the height of a 17-story building and capable of producing 3.6 million pounds of thrust.
Dude,
that's
that weighs
more power
as much
than
as your
two
mom.
SpaceX Falcon 9 rockets combined.
Dude, throw that fucking shade. Holy shit. That's so funny. Just throw that shade at them. Yeah, that's damn right.
These also
NASA,
have some
baby.
extra decoration for Artemis 2 with a big America 250 painted on the side of the booster. That is in celebration of the nation's founding in 1776, 250 years ago. It's a fitting tribute to put on this rocket when you consider that SLS and Orion were built by over 3,200 American suppliers and contractors across every state
Tampa's on
of the
there.
USA.
Tampa, Florida.
In the middle is this giant orange fuel tank that will be filled with liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. On Earth, we are typically going to find hydrogen and oxygen in the form of a gas. So to convert that into a liquid state, we have to make it very cold, taking it down below negative 100 degrees to a cryogenic temperature. And the reason we do that is because a liquid is much more dense than a gas, which means that we are going to get a much more powerful reaction when we set it on fire. Down at the base of the fuel tank is where all of the fire happens. We have 4 RS-25 rocket engines that combine the 2 liquid propellants and ignite them to create even more liftoff power. Now, if any of this stuff looks familiar, that's probably because we are looking at the exact same approach that NASA took with their space shuttle program. The big orange tank, side boosters, hydrogen fuel, it's all taken from the old shuttle.
Yo, thank you for the sub! Thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, guys. Yeah, nothing can go wrong with this ship design.
Playbook. Particularly the RS-25 engines, which were literally taken from retired space shuttles. NASA made the smart decision to save those for future projects, and now they are ready to launch people into space once again as part of the SLS rocket.
That crazy. Like, the way those it looks like you just took an engine in like an F-150 and just like tripled it to me. So I don't know what I'm looking at, but like it's crazy that that is the engine that fucking does this crazy ass shit.
At T0, the 4 hydrogen burning engines will ignite first and throttle up. Now, they don't have enough power on their own to actually lift the rocket, but they are still very important for the ascent phase, because unlike the side boosters, these are able to swivel around and point the nozzles in different directions. That's how the rocket booster steers itself through the atmosphere.
Ooh, I was
Once
right,
the core stage is running smoothly, this is when ground control is going to ignite 2 side boosters. These provide more than 75% of the rocket's total thrust, so once they get started...
All I care about is that there's a woman on that thing. Me too, because like if there wasn't, they wouldn't have home-cooked meals, it wouldn't be very clean in there.
Going to move really fast.
That was a joke, so my girlfriend
They
could beat
are
me up
also
later.
going to get really bright. When the first SLS launched on Artemis 1, it was the brightest rocket in history. It literally turned night into day for the area around the launch site.
Bro, I wanna
now, up here in the nose cone is where our crew is going to be riding this out.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Their integrity capsule is hidden behind a white cover, so they won't be able to see anything other than their instrument panels.
That's
and
for the
then
best,
on top of the
honestly,
cover
it's
is
for the
this really
best.
pointy bit. That is the capsule's launch abort system. Here's how that works. About halfway up the spike are 4 small rocket motors. If at any point during the launch the flight computer senses anything going wrong with the engine's performance or the trajectory of the SLS, it is going to ignite the launch abort system. Those 4 motors will pull the capsule away from the rocket booster, then the capsule will separate from the abort system and deploy its parachute so that everyone will safely float back down and land in the water. This is the main reason why Artemis 2 will probably launch in the middle of the night. If, for whatever reason, the crew has to perform a high-altitude abort, then the capsule might end up coming down somewhere halfway around the world. And we don't want rescue teams on the open ocean trying to find them in the dark. So if it's night in Florida, then it's going to be morning in Africa. And that provides just a little more peace of mind if the worst case scenario were to happen. But that is highly unlikely. So assuming everything goes well, at about 2 minutes into flight, the side boosters will separate from the core of the SLS.
Where do the boosters go?
This is a really cool sight to see. As they fall back, each booster is going to drag a giant tail of sparks from the burning embers of propellant. At this point, the rocket is about 50 kilometers above the Earth, or halfway to space. But the power of the side boosters has pushed it through the most dense part of the atmosphere. So now the SLS is able to cruise on those 4 hydrogen-burning engines. About 1 minute later, the launch abort system is going to separate from the nose of the rocket, and our crew will finally be able to see out of their windows. So don't confuse that with an actual abort. At this altitude, with such a thin atmosphere, it's not needed anymore. The capsule can still perform an emergency return to Earth, but it doesn't require those extra motors in the spike to do that. The SLS core is going to continue burning until 8 minutes and 30 seconds into flight, which is an altitude of about 150 kilometers.
I'm ready. This incredible.
The main engines will shut down and the big orange tank will separate from the rocket's upper stage. Now there's one more hydrogen engine on board the second stage of the SLS that will keep pushing the crew until their spacecraft is inserted into a very high Earth orbit. Then the second stage engine will separate at 20 minutes into the mission, and we will be left with just the Orion spacecraft.
Dude,
only a tiny
20 minutes in, and then they're just literally at the whim of every single mathematical problem, getting them at the perfect time to slingshot across the Earth, to slingshot to the moon, to slingshot back from the moon to Earth. And all that is out of 20 minutes. And then after this, bro, like you don't really have much to control it. It's just like, yeah, the first 20 minutes had to be perfect. Like, holy
that
fuck.
gigantic rocket stack that lifted off.
Super smart.
From here, the crew will be flying in an oval-shaped path around the Earth. We call this an elliptical
I would do it
orbit.
if they asked me.
So on one end, they are going to be very high above the surface, about 70,000 kilometers, which is already further from the Earth than any person has gone in decades. And then on the other side of the oval, they'll be at a relatively low altitude of just 185 kilometers. This is by design.
So low.
They are going to hang out here for a couple of days, performing a very thorough systems check of the Integrity capsule and its attached service module. That's the short cylinder section of the vehicle where the main engines and maneuvering thrusters are located.
You twink.
It's also where all of the crew's oxygen and water is stored, and the solar panels attached to the service module provide power for the entire mission. They generate enough electricity to supply 2 average American homes.
Oh my God.
The first thing we need to confirm is that the life support system is working as expected. That's the most important part. Second is the Orion's navigation and thruster controls. You might remember an incident from last year where 2 astronauts were quote-unquote stranded in space. They were also flying the first crewed mission with a new capsule design called the Boeing Starliner, and it ended up having some pretty serious problems with the vehicle's maneuvering thrusters. They were so bad that the Starliner had to return home empty while its crew waited another 6 months to catch the next ride back to Earth. Now, we don't want to see a repeat of that on a moon landing, so the Orion crew is going to verify the performance of their spacecraft by performing a simulated docking maneuver. So the first thing that happens is the autopilot system will flip the vehicle around to get the nose pointing in the opposite direction. From here, Victor Glover will take over with manual control of the spacecraft and begin steering back towards the ejected second stage of the SLS rocket, which is still coasting in the same orbit as the capsule itself. There are black and white markings on the second stage that Glover is going to use as targets to line up the nose cone of Orion and proceed as if they were going to dock with another spacecraft. The two won't actually touch each other, it's just a way to test the control system, because on future Artemis missions, the Orion capsule will need to perform an actual docking procedure with a separate moon lander. If at any point during this testing phase there is a system failure or any concern that the astronauts might be in danger, then they are going to use that low spot in the elliptical orbit to separate the capsule from the service module and return to Earth. Now, assuming everything checks out, they are going to use the high side of the oval to ignite the service module engines and perform a trans-lunar injection burn. That is going to put
suck at the end of the day, too, if I had to die and it was just me on the damn moon. That's kind of a way to go out. I wouldn't say I want that to happen. I'd hope that doesn't happen to anyone else going there, but like, you know, so I'd make peace with it. I feel like if I was like, hey, there's literally no hope of getting back, I have no choice, let's make peace with it. You know, that's pretty fucking awesome. At least I'm gonna be that guy that died in the fucking moon. Like, they're gonna make a fucking statue of me when they make a moon base. Flung through space knowing no one will save you and you're just going to suffer until you eventually die. Maybe you call it suffering, but I call it fasting. A long fasting. I would just jump as hard as I could and just eventually get to the point where I would start floating towards Earth. Because, it would work. If you jump hard enough.
Orion into a free return trajectory with the moon, which is a fancy way to say that they are going to let gravity take control from here on.
Oh my God, it's so scary.
As they swing out past the far side of the moon, its gravity will pull them back around to the near side, at which point the gravity of the Earth will take over and pull them back home.
That is just so scary.
This is a highly efficient flight plan, and
Bro, this makes it look so easy. but the moon is like moving around so fast and like compared to their speed, and it's just like they're catching the very perfect moment it's there to do one little loop around. Like
it's actually what's safe.
If they missed the moon by any bit, bro, they're floating through space forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like,
the astronauts on board Apollo 13 after they suffered an explosion on board the spacecraft that damaged their oxygen supply and knocked out power to their service module. On this trajectory, it will take Artemis 2 another 4 days to reach the moon. During that time, the astronauts will be conducting a lot of experiments, mostly on themselves, to monitor the effects of a deep space environment on the human body. We didn't have wearable computers with biometric sensors back in the Apollo days, so there's an opportunity to learn a lot about biology in space, particularly the effects of cosmic radiation, which is also why astronauts will be testing an emergency radiation shelter on their journey. The spacecraft is already shielded against the background radiation of space, but there is always the risk of getting caught.
I don't know if they have Instagram Reels, but they do have their iPhones. This is the first ever flight where they're allowing them to bring their iPhone 17 Pro Maxes.
Solar flare or coronal mass ejection, which is a random event when the sun kicks out a big chunk of its own radioactive atmosphere into space. Now, it's very unlikely that one of those would hit the spacecraft while it's outside the protective atmosphere of the Earth, but there is a plan just in case. The crew will practice moving into a storage area below the floor of the main capsule space, where they'll be surrounded with bags of food and other supplies. The idea is that this will provide extra shielding in case of a solar event. When Artemis 2 finally reaches the moon on day 6 of the mission, they are going to approach from a very wide arc and make their closest pass over the far side of the moon, coming within about 10,000 kilometers of the surface.
No doom
That's
scrolling,
actually much further out than any of the Apollo missions. They were down at just over 100 kilometers. So the big difference now is that we'll be able to see the moon from a much wider perspective. The crew will see more of the lunar surface than any other person before. And using modern technology, they can still zoom in with telephoto lenses and high-resolution sensors to see all of the close details as well. Unfortunately, their time with the moon will only last a few hours.
Damn, all this for a few hours?
Continue that loop and begin the return journey to Earth, which will take another 4 days. That leaves just one final action, the most dangerous point in the entire mission, re-entry. As Orion barrels towards the Earth, the propulsion system is going to perform one final adjustment to put the spacecraft on an angle that will impact the Earth's atmosphere. Then the service module will separate from the capsule, and integrity will flip around to point its heat shield down towards the surface. Now, we've gotten pretty familiar with seeing crews re-enter the atmosphere on space shuttle missions or in SpaceX Dragon capsules, but coming home from the moon is not in the same ballpark as returning from the ISS. Artemis 2 will be traveling much faster, over 40,000 kilometers per hour, and the heat that their capsule will experience tops out at over 2,760 degrees Celsius.
It's like Florida.
This is why NASA did their first test on Artemis 1 without any people on board. We've seen the Orion capsule survive this re-entry once before, and that gives us confidence that our crew will be safe when they return home from the moon. Although the word safe is relative when it comes to human spaceflight. Anything involving rockets and traveling beyond the protective atmosphere of the Earth is going to be inherently dangerous. There is no way around that. But if everything goes according to plan, the Integrity capsule will splash down in the Pacific Ocean about 50 nautical miles off the coast of San Diego, California. That is where a combined team of the US Navy, Air Force, and NASA will be waiting to recover the crew and capsule. This will be a historic moment, not just for NASA, but for human spaceflight.
Bro, can I volunteer to be part of this crew, bro? I want to just be the guy pulling the fucking rope, bro. I don't need to be some Navy member. I could pull the damn rope with a vest on. I could be like, yeah, I was part of the team that rescued them. I pretty much went to the moon.
On a global scale. It's a small reminder of our true capability as explorers. Because, of course, people have walked on the surface of the moon. They did that a long time ago. And that's not what Artemis 2 is trying to be. It's not about a rush to plant a new flag. It's the beginning of the...
Dude. People that don't believe in the moon landing kind of annoy me. Because, like, even if it's not real, I just want to believe in it. No, I don't care if that... Even if it's not real. And it's like, bro, I just want to live in a world of whimsy where we went to the fucking moon, and it's awesome, and there's so much aura that we're oozing out. Like, it's oozing out of us, how much aura we have. Like, you know, you act like this is a rocket. Like, this is rocket science. Yeah, it's, you know, it's pretty easy. If Swanee can do this, anyone can. That was a good fucking video, honestly. I'm geeking out. I love space, dude. I would go to the moon. If they said, hey, we actually need a volunteer, tell them to go, we want some regular person to show it's like safe, blah, blah, I'd be like, me, like, fuck it. I'll quit my job. That's literally worth it. My girlfriend would be jealous. She wouldn't be mad at me. She'd be fucking jealous. She'd be like, I would have done that too. I would have left you for the damn moon. But yeah, this is a really good video, actually. I really enjoyed that a lot.